Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today's video is talking about the second semester of university, following on from the first video, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the modules that I did for second year, which involved an exam and an assignment. Also my second placement, I started night shifts and end of year 1 level 4. So in the second semester we started a new module called Nursing Practice 1. And in Nursing Practice 1, it was a module where we were given 3 medical conditions: COPD, asthma and stroke. And in this module, we were taught all the physiology and all the vital information in regard to these conditions and the nursing interventions that are required for each of these conditions. So we went into things such as, like with asthma, the steps that we would take if someone was presenting to us with asthma, the type of mask that we would use in order to give them sufficient oxygen, how many litres we can give them, the type of devices available, what is going on physiologically in order for their asthma to be exacerbated. Same with the COPD, with the stroke, what type of medications can they have in a certain time frame that can break down the clot, what are the 2 types of stroke. So there's ischemic stroke and there's hemorrhagic stroke, and what is the difference between the two, how common is this one, how common is that. So the nursing interventions as well, we went into, like as a nurse, what would we need to do for patients presenting with them kind of conditions, what type of medication can they have, what other non-medical support can we give them, and all the things, all them kind of things were discussed in this module. And it was really, I really enjoyed this module. And I think what made me enjoy this module is the fact that I'd had a placement, and a lot of the questions that I was asked in the last placement I didn't really have an answer for. But after learning about this, after learning in this module and then thinking back, if I'd done this module beforehand, I probably could have answered them questions much more efficiently and promptly, because this module went into the physiology behind the conditions and what's actually going on internally. We see externally, and you see externally on placement, but you also need to understand what is going on internally, and that's when we go into linking your theory into practice. And that really showed me a lot, and I felt like it really developed my knowledge, this module, and I was then able to explain things in a more physiological way. So I did really enjoy it. It was an exam, and in the exam it was split into sections, so we had questions on all 3 conditions and all 3 case studies involved, and also we had questions on interventions and medication. So it was a really good module. It was probably my favourite module of first year, if I'm honest. We also had another module running alongside it, and this was health in society, and that was all about factors such as obesity and smoking and alcohol and drug abuse and stuff like that. And we had to basically write an assignment on why these things are so prevalent in society and stuff like that, and what impacts it has on society, what services are available, what we would recommend, all them kinds of things. So it's about looking at society as a whole and nursing within society. After that, it was a time for another placement, and this time I was placed on a surgical ward, a TNO, which is trauma and orthopedics, and that's all to do with fractures and hip replacements, bones, that kind of thing. I had previously done a surgical placement on a TNO ward before, and when I went, I didn't enjoy it as much as my medical, but this placement was okay. Learn everything like you do with every placement. Every placement's a learning opportunity. I didn't necessarily learn as many clinical skills on this placement, but I learned a lot about myself, which is still valid learning to intercept and still valid in development. I learned a lot of resilience and how to deal with various different characters and expand on that, and how to turn a negative situation into a positive one. And it did give me a lot of that. It gave me a lot of, it showed me how resilient I can be, because during this placement at times I'd think, come back into this, why am I doing this to myself? Was it the right decision? And I was really having doubts for this placement, and I found it really tough. Out of all the placements I'd done prior and in this university, this is probably the worst placement I'd ever had, but I turned it around. and I managed to get through it, and I did, and I passed it, and I got a good grade. At one point I thought I was going to fail, but I didn't. My mentors were really supportive, and I think that also helped, and there was loads of staff that were very supportive, friendly and kind, bar the few, but we won't go into that. But as I said, you learn with everything, and this just shows, this showed me that, you know, sometimes you think you're going to go on to placement and learn all these amazing clinical skills, and every placement is going to be structured in the same way, and every, you know, placement's going to have the same kind of, what am I trying to say? The same kind of feel as the other one. So you feel like all the stuff are going to be lovely, or this is going to happen and stuff. And it's just false impressions. And this placement just showed you're not going to get the same experiences everywhere, but you're always going to get an experience, and that could be positive or negative. So don't give up. Do your best, get through it, and just remember that you've always learned something, and reflect on what you've learned, and then implement that for your next placement. On this placement, I started doing some night shifts. I didn't do any on my last ward, but I did some on this one, and they were really tough. But in a way, as I said, it's experience, and it's good experience to show you how the hospital works on the other side of the day. Like, you know, you do predominantly get put on a lot of day shifts and stuff. Some people do get put on a lot of nights as well, but me, I'd been on most days, and it's nice to see the shift on what happens on the night, and how being a night nurse is different to being a nurse in the day. I am going to do a video on night shifts in general as well, and how I best prepared for them and how I got through them. After this placement, it was the end of year 1, so finishing level 4, and all that was left to do was have annual leave, have some time out for yourself, have some time to reflect, and get pumped up for the second year, which will be the next video. Thank you for tuning in again, and I hope you are all continuing to do what's making you happy. I hope you're taking time out to relax, stretch, do what you need to do, go for a walk, fill in the gaps for all them things you never usually have time for, and just want to wish you all the best in whatever you're doing. I hope you're finding these videos useful. As we progress during these videos, we're getting closer to the present time, and then getting to covering the topics that I said I was going to be covering. But thank you for following the journey so far. See you later. Goodbye.